What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of y'all who will, all that information is in the description box below. Also, go over to my other YouTube channel, Dawson Speaks TV. Make sure you subscribe over there. And again, I got to give a special shout out to everybody who's donated. You all have been showing up and showing out, and I appreciate that so much. Now, let's get into the story. Alright y'all, thanks for clicking on the video. Hope everyone is doing well. Now, this video is for educational purposes, and as I approach these stories with respect, I want you all to please be respectful in the comment section. Thanks. Alright y'all, now this is one of my go back and get 'ems. I have a lot of stories that, I saw and I wasn't able to get to them, but now I have time. So we're going to go back and get those stories and we're going to talk about it. Now this story comes out of Kansas City, Missouri. A Kansas City family went to the local news station because they had questions about their mother's will. The family told the news reporters that they were shocked after their mother's suspicious last will left everything to her pastor. The family told news reporters that they're not here to shame the pastor, they just want answers. Now I'm going to let you all watch this video and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary, and you all know me, I'm Dawson, and I won't hold back.
You know, Grandma had 90 long years here.
Yeah.
It was time.
Beatrice Allen was a mother and a grandmother, hardworking and fiercely religious.
She was everyone's grandma.
As her family struggles with her death, they're also struggling with the man who for more than a decade they trusted with her life, Pastor John Wright.
Truthfully, I don't hate the pastor, or I don't want any ill to come to him, but I just want him to not ever have a chance to treat anyone's family this way.
For nearly 40 years, Wright has been the pastor of Metro Church of Kansas City, where Miss Allen was a longtime member. She trusted Pastor Wright so completely that in 2003, after suffering 4 strokes, she gave him power of attorney. He took over her finances and paid her bills.
She felt that he had more ways and means. I didn't have a car at the time, and that he would have better transportation to pick up prescriptions.
I understood why she trusted the pastor, and there was no problem for me.
Until the day of her death, September 30th. That's when her grandson Cedric and her only child Rosalind say they saw another side of a man whose church they had once attended.
He made me feel like nobody.
She'd called the pastor to ask about her mother's bank account. She recorded the phone conversation.
Why do you think you need to know?
Because that's my mother and that's her money.
The last will and testament makes it very clear that I'm not accountable to you or anybody else on doing this.
That's when she learned that her mother had left a will, leaving everything to him.
And I said, who drew this up? Because my grandmother can't talk, write, or read. And he said, her attorney. I said, who is her attorney? Because I've never heard of him. And he just refused to speak any more about it.
In fact, they said the pastor wouldn't even let them see a copy of the will.
And I never wondered how much money she had. And it still doesn't matter. But whether it's 90,000 or 90 cents, I don't believe he's entitled to it.
Hi, Linda Wager with Fox 4.
Fox 4 problem solvers paid a visit to Pastor Wright's Northland home to get his side of the story. The pastor agreed to talk to us,
but I'm not willing to go on camera right now.
But not on camera, so we turned our cameras off. Wright said for many years Mrs. Allen saw very little of her family, so he made it his priority to take care of her as a way, he said, of humbling himself before God. For 15 years, he paid her bills, picked up her medicine, and arranged for her rides. This senior center where Miss Allen spent most days confirmed to Fox 4 that Pastor Wright was handling her affairs and would often call to check on her. Daughter Rosalind said there was a period when she and her mother hadn't been close, but that changed 7 years ago.
I'm clean and sober and have been for many years.
She spoke to her mother almost daily by phone, according to her mother's last caregiver. Grandson Cedric visited her every week.
Even if my grandma had disowned my mom, even if that was possible, which is not, but even if that was possible, she would never in life deny me or my brother or my sister.
The pastor told Fox 4 that Miss Allen had very little money in her account at the time of her death, although he wouldn't tell us how much or even show us a bank statement. Pastor Wright did show us the will.
This is unusual.
Probate attorney Bill Stilley said the will did not appear to be drafted by an attorney because it states that at its time of execution, Miss Allen had no children.
That's a lie. It's not true. How much other stuff is not necessarily true in this will?
Stilley said if someone was estranged from their family, they might not leave them any money, but they couldn't deny their existence. Plus, there are other problems with this will. The witnesses and the notary are all members of Pastor Wright's church.
it just raises the level of questions as to, is this her real decision?
But Pastor Wright said Miss Allen was of sound mind and memory when the will was drafted. He said he only agreed to take care of Miss Allen because she was a member of his church. It was never about the money. But this phone recording by the family shows the pastor did appear to have at least some interest in the value of her estate. He threatened to call police because the family took Miss Allen's power chair.
The thing is $12,500 wholesale. It's over $20,000. That's way into felony thing. I don't want that to happen to anybody.
You try your best. Do what you gotta do.
According to the will, money from Miss Allen's estate was supposed to pay for her funeral. Instead, Miss Allen's family paid the cost. The pastor never offered to help. Although it's not unusual for someone to leave part of their estate to a church, it is unusual for a pastor to personally inherit the entire estate.
We help people navigate their spiritual lives and their relationship with God, and that puts us in a different position of power than it would with your neighbor.
Reverend Shanna Stites of Community Christian Church said most pastors would turn down that kind of gift.
I don't know under what scenario I would feel comfortable accepting that money.
For this family, their mother's death has left them feeling
I
betrayed.
looked up to him most of my life. I'm not going, that's why I want to say over and over, I'm not here to shame him. I just want him to really realize how much he's hurt my mother and my family.
The pastor was upset that the family is speaking to Fox 4 problem solvers. He says this is a private matter and should be handled by the courts, not the media. The family has spoken to an attorney about filing a lawsuit, but decided against it since it could cost tens of thousands of dollars, and they have no idea how much money was in Miss Allen's estate. Linda Wager, Fox 4 News.
All right, y'all, let's go in. Now, first of all, I want to give my condolences out to the family and friends of Beatrice Allen. You all, this is a real messed up situation. And, you know, this story really got me, too, also because my grandmother's name was Beatrice, and she's up there, you know, singing in the heavenly choir. So rest in peace to both of you all. Now, let me say this. Many of you have family and friends who are elderly, and they're in these religious institutions, and they trust their leaders. And like the news reporter said, that it's not unusual for someone to leave part of their inheritance to a church. You know, there are people who do this all the time. And you all need to know what's going on with your grandmothers, your mothers, your granddads, your aunts, people who are elderly who just think that these pastors can do no harm. And I personally feel that the daughter and the grandson should have had this conversation with Pastor John Wright and Miss Beatrice Allen years ago. It shouldn't have just come up when she passed away, because the family knew that Miss Beatrice Allen was elderly. She was in a care facility. They knew that the pastor was taking care of her, and they should have had a talk about her will with her and the pastor before she had those 4 strokes and she was able to read, write, and comprehend things. Because it does seem to some people that you all are just here to get money. However, if you all did pay for the funeral and this will is fake, whatever Miss Beatrice had, it should go to the family. But don't wait to the end when people pass away and it seems like now everybody is like, oh, what's in the will? Did she leave us something? Did she leave this? Because you all trusted him to take care of her affairs. You all knew that he had the power of attorney and he had her in that facility that she was in. And I just feel like this conversation should have happened years ago before Miss Beatrice passed away. Now, let me say this to Pastor John Wright. Pastor Wright, I think it was horrible how you talked to Beatrice Allen's family. I think that was very disrespectful how you talked to them over the phone. I also think that that will was fake because it was signed by you. It said it was signed by Miss Allen as well. And then the witnesses were people in your church. And I'm glad that the news station pointed out and they had an attorney on there to say after he read the will that there was a big mistake in that will by saying that Miss Allen had no children. Like, how can you come on, buddy? So right there, like the attorney said, what else in that will is fake? Because if you're just going to totally obliterate her daughter by saying she has no children, I can't trust that will, and I certainly can't trust you. Now, the argument about the power scooter, Miss Beatrice's power scooter, I think the family was well in their right to take that power scooter because you said it cost about $12,500 wholesale, and her funeral probably cost just that much. And according to the will, her estate was supposed to pay for her funeral. You didn't honor that. So the family had to pay for the funeral, according to them. And Pastor John, you said you took care of Miss Beatrice Allen because you were humbling yourself before God, but I don't believe that. I believe you took care of her because, like that old song say, put your time in. Payday is coming after a while. You knew a payday was coming after a while, buddy. You're not fooling me or no one else. Now look here. Now, you all heard the news reporter say that it's not unusual for someone to leave part of their inheritance to a church. However, it is unusual for a pastor to personally inherit the entire estate. That's just wrong, bruh. And I'm glad that they had the other pastor, that woman there, who said that she would not personally feel right taking that money. You all, I'm off of this topic. I gotta go. Look, you all take care of yourself and each other and talk to your relatives. We can't just talk about things because, oh, we're living, we're having fun. We're going to, yeah. But everybody, death is the great equalizer, you all. We're all going to pass away. We have to talk about wills. We have to talk about things that may make us feel uncomfortable. But we have to talk about it. You know, my condolences again go out to the family and friends of Beatrice Allen. You all take care of yourself and each other. Go off in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Peace.